Hey, what's going on? NoZoupForYou here, and today there's a couple different topics that I want to touch on, and both of them are involving ranked gameplay. And as most of you know by now, ranked gameplay for this season is Tier 10. I know a lot of you are probably playing it right now, probably run across a bunch of you in ranked gameplay, but there's two key topics that I want to cover, and two things that are kind of really, I guess, not weighing on the community right now, but they're just really hot topics and things that either people are annoyed about or they don't know what to think, I guess. And those two things right now are rentals in ranked gameplay and carriers in ranked gameplay. And I know both of those right now are some really hot button issues, and you can see that myself, I am playing aircraft carriers right now in ranked, or at least in this ranked battle. I'm playing the Hakuryu, which seems to be the aircraft carrier of choice if you want to rank up fairly easily. But I do want to put air quotes around easily, and I want to say that it's not that easy. For some people it might be, but I'm going to kind of go back and forth between talking about my thoughts on ranked gameplay and aircraft carriers and rentals and my gameplay as well. I'm going to kind of walk you through what I'm doing. This was a very close battle that I had, one that we won in the very end of the game. It was very close, and for a little while I didn't think we were going to win. And you can kind of see in the beginning right now I'm just doing, going through the motions, spotting, taking out 7 of the enemy airplanes, dropping fighters, which are kind of things that you do in the beginning of the game. But moving on, I want to talk about rental ships right now. And I know there are a ton of you all right now that really are kind of upset about having rentals in Tier 10. And you can see right now I've moved on from using rocket planes, attack craft, to torpedo planes, torpedo bombers, and that's kind of usually what I do when I play. I start off scouting with attack aircraft, and if there's some opportunities to get some shots in on destroyers, I'm going to do that. I'm going to spot with them, and then I'm going to move on and start producing some damage and trying to just kind of influence the battle by, actually going after the meteor targets while still trying to spot for my team. But rental ships. Yeah, I know a lot of you right now aren't really that happy with rental ships in there. And I know a lot of you are saying right now that players shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should earn it before you can play in ranked gameplay with a tier 10 ship. And I know there's just a low opinion that many of you have right now on people that are playing rental ships. And you can see right now this Kurfürst is kind of separated himself from the pack, and I'm just going to continue to go after him right now with my torpedo bombers. And this is really one of the reasons that I like the 2 bomber setup as opposed to the 4, because you can just keep loitering and going back and forth and making someone's life absolutely miserable. And you can see my first torp didn't really arm, but the second one did. And this is going to be the 3rd pass I'm making on this Kurfürst right now. So I know a lot of you don't like players playing rental ships, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, and I'm going to be as honest as I can and just kind of present both sides of the issue. Yes, you're probably getting a lot of players playing in ships that they have no idea what they're doing, and that's to be expected. And I can understand why Wargaming made the move to include rental ships. I understand why they would include them and allow as many players as possible to play them. I mean, it opens up opportunities in 2 ways. It opens up the opportunity for players who have never played at Tier 10 to play at Tier 10, and it kind of gives them a taste. And this works out to Wargaming's benefit because it allows players the opportunity to see what they're missing out on, and in theory, they can keep grinding. And there's my first sunken ship of the game right there. Not bad at all. Lucky drop on a Hindenburg. He was very low health, but you know what? I'll take it at this point. So you've got a bunch of players that normally aren't playing Tier 10, and they're finally getting to play Tier 10, and they're saying, okay, I may have only made it Tier 8, but now I definitely want to play Tier 10. So if they're grinding the US battleship line and they're at Tier 8, Now they get a taste of Tier 10 Montana, and they're like, okay, I want to keep going. So it kind of keeps players in the game. It keeps them going. It adds to longevity in a way. So for that reason, I can see why Wargaming did it. And I don't disagree with their motives. You're opening up Tier 10 ranked gameplay for a lot more players that otherwise wouldn't be able to play. And that's not a bad thing, because you're keeping people in the game. You're keeping players playing. And right here, I'm kind of in a bad spot. The destroyers have managed to flank, and I've got 2 chasing me down. So this has kind of taken my focus away from helping my team. And it's kind of really put me in a do-or-die situation where I'm throwing anything and everything I can at these ships just in self-preservation. So I'm lobbing torpedoes at them. I'm doing everything I can to keep these ships away from me. And unfortunately, what it's doing is it's forcing my team to come to my aid, and that's not good, and ultimately that's not what I would want to happen. So keep that in mind if you are playing aircraft carriers. I should have moved up with my team right here, and instead I kind of lagged behind for whatever reason, and that's kind of caused this little chain reaction right here where I've got 2 destroyers chasing me. My team's now having to pull away from B and protecting and guarding that to come save my rear while I do everything I can to stop these destroyers. So in a way, I kind of set this chain of events that made this game a lot closer than it should have. We have the lead right now, but again, you know, I'm showing you the good and bad, and I want you to know things that you should do and shouldn't do. So anyhow, Wargaming has opened up the gameplay for a lot of players that probably wouldn't be playing had they not done that. And they're in these rental ships. And I know a lot of players are upset about that, but honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, you know, you can say that rental players are going to suck, but I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is anyone that's been playing for a long time and been playing ranked every single season knows that there are going to be players that just aren't good at ranked. Players that just aren't cut out. Players that probably shouldn't be playing ranked, but they have a right to play it. Let's just face it. You can't tell them, no, you're not playing ranked. So what's the difference with players in rental ships? I mean, I will be honest. In the games I've played, yes, I've had some players that just aren't good at rental ships. And they YOLO in, and they lose right away. And it doesn't help my team. But, conversely, I've had some rental ship players that are really, really good. And they've helped the team. And they've done a great job. There's one Grozovoy that I can remember in particular who has played phenomenally every round I've been in with him. He's finished at the top. He's just done really, really good. And that's the flip side to rental ships. You got to think that there are also players out there, and I do want to clarify, you have to make it to Tier 8 to be able to play rental ships. But there are players out there that have made it to Tier 10. And this gives them a chance to play a ship that they don't have to see if they do want to grind to it. And these players are probably pretty good to begin with. You know, these are players that might have 5, 6, 7 Tier 10 ships already, and they're just lacking something. For example, the only Tier 10 ship that I lack right now, I think, is the Grozovoy. So if I jump into a Grozovoy, I know I'm going to do pretty good at it. I mean, it's not like I'm going to suck at it. I know how to play Tier 10 destroyers. So there's a lot of players in that boat right now. There's a lot of players that know the fundamentals, even at Tier 8, and if you stick them in a rental ship, they're still going to play really good. And you see right now, things are 3-3. I sunk another ship. It's a very, very close battle, but we're losing B, so I'm going to try and get over there and do what I can to kind of stop this. I'm safe now. Those destroyers are not a threat anymore. Of course, this Wooster here, I'm kind of concerned with because, you know, they're just really good sinking planes, So I'm going to close on the whole rental ship thing by saying that, yes, players have a right to be in rental ships. No, not every player is going to be good that jumps in a rental ship. Not every player that plays in a rental ship is going to have played Tier 10 before. But there's a lot of 10 tier players that aren't good, that are still playing ranked. And on the whole, you know what? I think it averages out. So I've got nothing against rental players. If they want to try the ships out, that's perfect. And I know there's a lot of 10 tier rental ship players. So good on you. Good on you. I've got no problem with it. You're going to have good, you're going to have bad. Just like the players that rightfully own the Tier 10 ships. Now moving on to aircraft carriers in ranked. I know a lot of players are upset with this as well. I personally am not. And the reason why is, you know, a lot of people have said the Hakuryu is a gimme if you play this ship. It's a gimme for a win. And, you know, I've done good in it. I've had some good rounds. I've had some great rounds. But I've also had some bad rounds. I've had some rounds where I just get shellacked. Heavy AA, you know, dual Woosters, dual Des Moines, playing in sync with each other and just doing a really good job. And the majority of the carriers I've played against, they don't finish in the top. They don't always keep their star. They don't keep their star at number 1. Yes, carriers influence the game in a way that we're not used to. But we need to get used to it because they're here to stay. And not every single game is going to have carriers in it. Sometimes if you get a good carrier, yes, they're going to influence the battle in a way you might not like. But that's with any ship. Any ship has that capability. Any good player can do that. Yes, maybe carriers a little more. Maybe. But really, I think we got to wait until the end of this rank season to know the full effects. And yes, while the Hakuryu does seem like the go-to ship, yes, it seems like the go-to carrier, it seems like the one that fares the best out of all the other carriers. Again, it's by no stretch, you know, a gimme when it comes to keeping your star. And I'm in a bad spot right now. I've got this Wooster chasing down on me, and again, I'm lobbing torps at him. I'm doing what I can to keep him away from me. Again, we're losing pretty significantly right now. You can see the point spread is not good. Our points are almost doubled. They're closing in on the win right now. But I've got dive bombers. And I'm dropping on this Wooster right here. And that's going to do it for the Wooster. 2 citadels on the Wooster, and that's why people don't like the Hakuryu right now. And that's why I love it. But it takes time to learn how to drop with the Hakuryu. I wasn't able to do it right away, and I really never played it before rank. It took me a good 2 or 3 rounds, but once I got the hang of it, you can do some major damage. But again, it takes a competent player in a Hakuryu or an aircraft player in general to do good. And you'll notice if you get a bad one on your team. And right now it's 1-1. We're about to win this, which is just crazy because I didn't think it was going to happen. But again, you know, it's not a given. So I don't have an issue with that in the game. Aircraft carriers, we'll just have to wait to see after this season's over. And I'm going to make one final pass on this destroyer for my 4th kill. This was just a very close game, and that'll do it. Not a lot of damage this round, not a lot at all, but 4 sunken ships, and I was able to help us secure the win and advance, and that's that. But anyhow, be nice to rental ships. You know, they deserve to play. And be nice to carriers. They can help your team, but sometimes they don't. It all evens out in the end. Anyhow, take it easy. Zoop out.